to our program in a nutshell. I'm Bob Savakanis. Today we're in Fell Township at the beautiful Brookvalley Farms homestead. We're with Laura Duda, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the amazing animals she has here, some of the great attractions and events that she's been doing throughout the area, and we're just going to have some fun time down on the farm. Laura, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Bob. I'm glad you guys are here.
Well, we're going to have a little bit of fun talking about the amazing animals that are on this farm. I know we did a little bit of shooting of the horses going in to get fed. Tell us a little bit about that process, our viewers, because it was very fascinating to see them line up and just head in for feeding time.
It is feeding time. It actually takes a little bit of time to get them coordinated so that they all go into the stalls where they're supposed to go once they go into the barn. But once they do learn, they just kind of line up, and as you saw in the footage, they open the gate, they run right into the barn, go right into their stalls for feeding.
And how often do they get fed a day?
Once a day during the summer, and then during the winter, usually when they're working a little bit more, they'll get fed twice a day.
So you just talked about them working. So tell us a little bit about what these working horses will be doing.
Okay, the Belgian draft horses, which are the biggest ones out there, there's 4 of them. There's 2 teams. There's a mother and daughter team, and then there's another team that's a male and female match. The female is actually the biggest one of the team. Fancy is her name. She's our biggest horse. She's about 18 and a half, 19 hands. They actually pull a horse-drawn carriage wagon, and we also have a surrey. We have 2 different carriages, a vis-a-vis and a surrey, and then we have a horse-drawn wagon that seats up to 12 adults. So they pull that. We also use April and Molly, the 2 smaller ones, for trail rides. And then the ponies, the smaller horse and normal size horses, we use for pony rides and the trail rides. And then our little miniature horse, the little white one you see running with them all, is actually, she's a miniature horse that we use for birthday parties, and she also is a unicorn.
I know, I've seen these animals in your horse-drawn carriages at various events throughout our area. I know the Lackawanna County Marketplace, Winter Marketplace event. Is that something that you're participating in this year?
Not this year, we're not, because of COVID.
Okay. But you are doing rides up at Naog Park, from what I understand?
We are doing rides at Naog.
Okay, tell us a little bit about what a family could look forward to doing something like that for the ride.
Okay, actually we start pretty much right at the beginning of the lights. I mean, cars come up and pull in. We load right behind the Everhart Museum, so they can jump out of their car, jump into the carriage, and go through the lights in a horse-drawn carriage.
Very nice. And obviously all the practices, the social distancing and all the safety precautions, so the families can feel at ease on riding. Is there a limit to how many are on the horse-drawn carriage rides and things?
The carriage that we have at the park seats 4 adults comfortably. So we've had, like 4 adults and 3 kids on laps. It kind of depends on what you want to squeeze in there. As long as you can get in there comfortably and safely, it's fine. We do not mix groups at all. So if it's 2 people in a car that want to get in the carriage, it stays just those 2 people. So that's where it makes it a little bit easier for us to adhere to all the guidelines, because it's groups that are already in their car together.
Can you tell our viewers then, when are you there?
We are there this year. Because of COVID and how many cancellations we've had throughout the year, we're trying to kind of make up a little bit at this point. So we will be there every night this year from 6 to 9. Until December 20th. We actually started 2 nights ago.
And the lights are beautiful. From recalling the Naog Park, the way the setup is and everything, with all the holiday lights, and of course, having been on a few of your horse-drawn carriage rides through the years and everything, it's an amazing experience, and very comfortable and warm sitting on the carriage for those thinking it may be too cold or something.
And there are carriage blankets. Right. We do have carriage blankets.
Now you also have another event with the Lackawanna County Historical Society that you'll be doing some tours of downtown Scranton. Could you tell us a little bit about that information?
That's on December 16th, and those are pre-scheduled. I believe they need to get in touch with the Lackawanna Historical Society to schedule that, but we'll be doing hour-long rides through Scranton with a narrator to do some history info.
Okay, so again, a nice combination that people can go out and learn a little history of Scranton and enjoy the holiday season having a nice carriage ride.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you also mentioned you have a unicorn. Tell us a little bit about what fun family events you've done maybe a little bit in the past with the unicorn and or the other animals.
Okay, the unicorn she's actually been the star of our show this year. She's done a lot of work because we're able to maintain the social distancing a little bit better. She has done a lot of photo shoots. And she came to us pretty much as a fluke. We had somebody call a few years ago that wanted to dress a horse up as a unicorn. So they had bought just the headband and stuff, which didn't work out too well. But since then, we've done some trial and error and come up with a completely custom halter for her. And she has her little horn and her flowers, and she has a couple different colors that she wears. She's either a pastel rainbow unicorn, or she's got some gold flowers and some peach flowers and blue and purple. So she can kind of meet any need. And she's a big hit with kids. Big hit with kids.
Just following that idea through, I know several times I've seen you at the Lackawanna Historical Society's Kids' Day events and things like that. How do children react when you bring out the various animals? And I mean, what's your feelings on this, and what are the kids' reactions and their families and things?
We like to tell people that we have the most horrible job in the world because all we do is put smiles on kids' faces. Right. It's a lot of fun. It's nice. It's very rewarding. It's great to see the kids smile, and they all have their favorites. We also do a traveling petting zoo, so as much as the horses bring smiles, so do all the other animals. We have rabbits, chickens, goats. The goats are usually a big hit, especially if I have some kids, which usually once a year I do have some kids that we can take to the petting zoo. So we have the little babies running around and jumping all over the place.
Tell us a little bit about some more of the animals that are here on the farm, the homestead, the farmstead. We had a little time walking around, and I'm sure our viewers will have a chance to see some of these animals. Tell us a little bit about them, how you acquire them, a little bit of what it's like taking care of them.
Okay, it's a lot of work. It's a 24/7, 365 a year job. There is no real time off. We have no vacation. We have to like what we do, as does any farmer. It's, I know I started saying before with the petting zoo, I got to start from the bottom so I don't miss anybody. We have the horses, obviously, cows, a miniature mule, chickens, rabbits, ducks, goats, pigs. I think that's everybody, and honeybees.
Okay. Tell us about your typical day. I mean, here on the farm, what is it like? You said it starts very early and it's 24/7, but what is your typical day like?
It does, and it's not just the animals, it's all the upkeep and maintenance of all the equipment and the buildings and all that too. We use our goats for dairy. Our goats are all dairy goats, so I milk goats every morning. I don't do it twice a day. I know like most cow farmers do, but with our horse schedule, I can't always be here at night, so I get my goats used to milking only in the morning. And then, so feeding every morning takes anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, and milking, once I get everything done in there, that's that part of it. Then there's to come back in and take care of the rest of it. We also raise all of our own food, so there's that part of it too, the processing of everything that goes along with that.
The animals are probably one of the biggest attractions for the public to want to see what goes on. But I mean, your personality, your husband's personality, as far as maintaining a nice relationship between the animals as they're out in public, what does that involve, so that there's that fine, nice balance between the public, the animals, and the owners? Well,
our animals, my husband might not completely agree with this definition, but our animals are as much a part of our family as our daughter is. So we rely on them, they rely on us, and we just have a good working relationship with each other that way. We respect them, and we expect them to respect us. So there's a lot of time training. There's a lot of time spent with them so that they're comfortable doing what we ask them to do. Not so much work we've done with the Historical Society, but one event that I always bring up that really is a testament to the training and what goes into getting a horse ready to do what we do is like the St. Patrick's Day parade, or there's a Hindu parade that we do down on Prescott Avenue. We've done a few times now, where the horses have to be as bomb-proof as we can get them.
That's an interesting way to describe it.
It's pretty well. It's actually the way the police define what their horses are like, and they have to go out there. They have to be able to expect and not react to anything. So they're trained to do what's called spook in place. What that means is if they do get scared, we allow them to get scared, but they're trained to do it so that they don't take off. They might dance, they might skirt around a little bit, they might jerk their heads, but they don't take off running. So they're all trained to do that, the horses. The rest of the animals aren't exposed to that as much as the horses are. But my husband spends a lot of time training and getting them used to that. sirens, like last night at NAOG, the helicopter coming in, the life flight coming in, trains, especially when we're working in downtown Scranton. Those kind of things normally spook a horse, but ours are fine.
I know I've observed your horses at the St. Patrick's Day Parade, and for the thousands, tens of thousands of people that are at the parade, they are so well behaved as far as participating in the parade and everything. So I guess that's part of the training that you're describing and everything like that. You also mentioned the Hindu festival. What is that like? Tell us a little bit about your experiences with that, because it sounds like that's very involved for the animals and for yourself as well.
It is. It's a parade. There's people. All the colors of the women's outfits and everything are fantastic. But the men march in the front of the horses, and the women march behind. And the men, at points through the parade, it's just straight up Prescott Avenue. But at points will stop, and the music is loud, and they dance around the horses. It's a beautiful event. It really is. But all that noise and that commotion and everything going on around the horses is part of what they're trained to handle.
Very interesting. Again, from what I've observed and everything, your animals out there in the community doing different activities, and again, it's a testament, I think, to Lackawanna County, all the different great events that go on here that the county government supports, and that the public is invited to attend and be able to see your animals out there and everything. Because we are in a city, but yet you have an opportunity to kind of spend time with the different animals out there. I know when we were pulling up, begin our program here, there was a bull that greeted us. Tell us a little bit about this bull, if you would, please.
That's George. George is a bull. He is still able to do everything that a boy cow should do, but he's exceptionally friendly.
We noticed that. I know some of our crew here was really excited to. Maybe the bull was excited.
I've heard conversations, I believe, between the bull and some of your.
Normal behavior for a bull?
No.
Okay, no. Tell us why this bull is so friendly.
This bull used to be used in our petting zoo, so he was out and he would be around kids and everything all the time. So he got handled a lot. And we're with them every day. We're with the animals every day. But most bulls do start to get a little bit mean. And he may in time. He's not 2 years old yet, so he may. But right now he's still very friendly coming off his time with the petting zoo. He's too big to travel right now, so he's on farm for anything. When we do a farm visit or farm tour, when people come to the farm to actually meet the animals where they live, then George is a part of that.
Good. Well, I think everyone will look forward to seeing George out there. Let's move away from the animals a little bit and talk a little bit about this amazing building and your farm. Can you give us a little bit of a history of the farm itself and the establishment and the continuation of it?
Okay, the farm itself, this piece of it for sure, I'm not positive when it came into the family, but this area between the farm here and the golf course next door was settled by my Scottish ancestors back in the early 1840s, and it has been in the family since.
And we're in Fell Township.
And we are in Fell Township. It's my father's family that settled it. My father's family is still up at the golf course. And then my brother, sister, and I grew up actually on the land that we're on now. My mom subdivided the property, and all of us built new houses here. My brother, sister, and I have all come back, so we're all back on the farm. And it has been, we grew up this way too. We were a homestead when we grew up. My sister and I competed hunter-jumper with the horses growing up, so my dad built the arena that you drove past on the way in. That was our practice arena. We still use it for that. So I've been around horses. I think I started riding when I was 5 or 6 years old. I've been around horses my whole life. So as far as any kind of training or anything, I have no formal education with the horses, neither does my husband, but we've been a part of it for a very long time. I'm not going to give away my age, but it's been a very long time.
We're in this beautiful room, and from what you were telling me a little bit before we started the program, that you're possibly looking at opening up a bed and breakfast, and I think it would give people a great opportunity to spend time on a farm, a homestead, and things like that. Tell us a little bit about those plans, and maybe a little bit about this room that we're filming in.
This room that we're filming in is the general, like I don't even know what to call it, just where anybody can kind of come and sit and relax and enjoy the
common space.
Yes, that works.
Let's go with that.
Because I just went completely blank.
Okay, we're fine. Common space.
But it will be a 2-room bed and breakfast. Both rooms are full bath en suite. Where we are right now, this is actually my mother's family on the wall behind us. This is a restored couch that we picked up that I had to completely redo the bottom of it. But the 2 rooms will be open to enjoy the full working farmstead experience. We've had to we've worked on it little bit by little bit as money comes in. We haven't borrowed or anything, so everything is kind of bit by bit as we can do it. And we're working on it, but we kind of hit a delay a little bit this year, so.
As most of the world has,
Yes.
because of the health situation. And
Yes.
everything. So you do have plans, though, to work on it and have this bed and breakfast opened up in the future.
Yeah, hopefully the near future. We're not too far from finished for now.
And what are the plans for that then? So a family or a group will be able to spend time here? Will they be able to interact with the animals? Will breakfasts and food be available? Things like that.
Yeah,
Again,
well-
we're looking down the road when.
Yeah, it will be the bed and breakfast. So breakfast would be complimentary with the stay, and it's a full farm to table breakfast because we have the fresh eggs. We actually make our own sausage, bacon. We do all of that ourselves. So everything would be from farm to table.
Okay. You mentioned bees.
Yes.
So actually, I guess a bigger question is, do you sell commercially or to the public products? So if people were looking for Brookvalley Farms, they would be able to contact you via email or your website or something. Can you tell us a little bit about what the market is that you have of products out there that people can purchase from a local farm?
Yes, we have. We do chickens. You can do. We do those by order only, because we don't, especially through the winter, we don't keep them. They're too hard to raise in the winter. But we can sell. We do cow, beef by like quarter, half, whole. When we can get appointments, that's another thing right now that's been hit. I'm not sure how, but somehow it's been hit that we can't get appointments to do cows right now. There's the butchers are like 6 months to a year out with appointments, so we're kind of on hold with that. We don't have the facilities here right now to do that, to do the beef ourselves, but we can do pork. We do the chicken. So there's any of those I'll either put it out on our website that we have something available, or you can contact us and we can try to figure out something.
You also mentioned that you have goats and the bees and everything. So is honey available? Is milk, butter, things like that available?
The milk and stuff is not, because I only milk about usually 1 or 2 goats at a time. The milk is just for us. It's the only milk that we use.
So you're privileged.
I am. I own the farm, so I get to have the goat's milk and the cheese. So I do make the cheese and stuff too, but because we don't have the FDA approvals and certificates and everything, we can't sell the goat's milk. I do sell goat's milk soap though. That doesn't have the same restrictions. But we can sell our eggs, we can sell the chickens, we can sell, like I said, the pigs, the beef. We also plant a really big garden every year, so most of our vegetables are raised here.
So for instance, what vegetables would someone be able to purchase in the summer or the fall?
Those we don't actually sell. That way I would have like for the bed and breakfast or the farm to table part of it. We grow enough just to keep ourselves out of the grocery store as much as possible.
So again, that's the benefits of being a farmer. Okay.
For us.
Right.
Like I said, I guess saying that we're a farm, that's what my parents named it, Brookvalley Farm, about 40 years ago or better. So it's always been called Brookvalley Farm, but really we're more of a homestead, farmstead, where we raise for ourselves and share what we can.
Okay, very, very nice. So the website, can you tell us a little bit, give us the details for our viewing audience that may want to purchase or just, partake in using the animals for an event or something like that?
Yeah, the website is just www.brookvalleyfarmpa.com. Okay. And everything is up there. Anything that you can order, just about everything is pre-order except eggs. We always have eggs on hand.
Okay, so that makes it easy for the audience if they're interested. Just Brookvalley Farms, okay.
Yep.
So we are getting close to the holiday season, and as we've discussed, you've done many activities through the years and everything, but what are 1 or 2 of your favorite things that you've experienced over time with doing events or something?
Well, like I said before, just bringing a smile to kids' faces and adults, And then some of the best things I've seen actually have probably happened up at NAOG, where we'll have somebody in line and a kid will be totally in awe of the horses and want to go for a ride, and mom or dad might not be able to afford it, and somebody in line will pay for them to go.
Very nice.
And we've also done a lot of work with special needs kids, with the pony rides especially, and with the petting zoo, but to see just pure, unadulterated joy on a kid's or adult's face, that's probably the best part.
It's wonderful activities, again, as I've said before, that you provide for our public. As far as the weather goes, and we talked a little bit about the animals and the various animals, let's go back to them a little bit. So, of course, with the winter season approaching and everything, what is it like for the animals in the winter season, as far as like temperatures that they're able to stay outside, or being in the barn, or routines, or whatever?
Yeah, all of the animals actually are ready for any kind of weather that gets thrown at them for the most part. They all adapt. Most of it is not triggered by cold as much as we would think, but when the daylight hours start to change, so do their coats. They will actually shed out their summer coats. They'll say the horses, the goats do the same thing. They'll shed out their summer coats and they'll get a winter coat, which is actually more like 2 different layers of hair that they'll get. They get a nice, soft, fuzzy, almost down undercoat, and then a longer, when you see a horse in the winter, they look shaggy.
Okay.
So they get that longer, shaggy coat on the outside. And then their skin actually works with their hair as a system to help either trap the heat in or let some out depending on the temperature. These past couple days that have been warm have actually been really hard on the horses because they have their winter coats. And unlike us, they can't take them off. So when it gets warm during the winter, it's a little bit tougher on them. They're much more comfortable when it's cooler. We bring them into the barn to help them out a little bit. It's not so much when it gets super, super cold, or if it's rainy and like that 30-something, 35-degree rain, we'll bring them in to give them a break. It's not that they can't handle it, it's that they need to eat so much more to be able to handle it. So it's easier on them and us financially to put them in the barn for a little while.
So we talked about the horses. What about the bull, the pigs, the chickens? How do they handle the winter season, if you want to use
Pretty much the same thing. They all get used. The pigs are more just thick skin.
Okay.
Their hair doesn't really change, but they're fine. They all have, except for the horses, they all have access to shelter anytime they want it. The chickens can go in and out as they want. The pigs have shelter anytime they want, the goats too. So the horses are the only ones that we actually have to physically put into a building.
So the animals make their own decisions, except for the horses. Okay. How about the bull? Now, what is the bull doing?
The bull, he's another one. The bull and the little, she's actually a free martin is what she is, but she's a little calf. They're treated like the horses. They'll go in, if it's really bad, we'll take them into the barn too.
So you mentioned about the cost of maintaining the animals and the feed and everything. So what do the animals eat? I mean, what is the feed? Or
the feed for all of them is specific. We work with a local mill where we get all of our grain for each individual for the chickens, and it depends on which chickens it is too. There's a different one for the layers and there's a different one for the meat chickens, so there's different food for them. But everything is custom to the animal to be most beneficial, but the main thing for all of them is hay or grass, and they have 24-hour access to all the hay or grass that they want all year. Our chickens are pasture raised, so they are out in the field cleaning up anything they want, just being a chicken, digging for grubs, eating insects, and whatever else they can find.
So your husband Steve is probably out there somewhere doing some work right now and everything. I mean, what is his involvement as far as like what is his tasks that he has to work with as far as the animals go and taking care of things as well? And just for a perspective as to all the work that is involved in maintaining a farm.
Yeah, we actually split the chores between the animals. I have the certain ones that I do. He will not milk a goat, so that's mine. But he pretty much does all the horse training, and he also does all our farrier work. He does all the shoeing for the horses and trimming their feet. Okay. He does most of the training, just because I'm usually busy doing some of the other stuff on the farm. Like I said, I do the goats. I make all the bacon, the sausage. We kind of work on that a little bit together, but most of that I hate to say that it's a gender defined role, but it kind of does seem to work out that way, that I do most of the stuff in the house with the food and he does the stuff outside with the animals.
So because, again, it is a family homestead situation here, so do you and Steve ever get a chance to take a vacation? And if that happens, then, I mean, the rest of the family picks up, or by this laughter you're bringing, I'm guessing a farmer's life is extremely busy. Is that what I've to?
Yes, we take day trips.
Okay.
That's about all we can manage. And it's actually not most of the animals that make it very hard. It's the dog.
Okay.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's not. For us, the horses can be outside all day without anybody paying attention to them. The goats, same thing. Everybody can kind of come and go as long as they've got their hay or grass. They're good for 12 hours or better at a stretch. But the dog requires more attention.
Okay. So as far as just the lightheartedness of something, because again, it sounds like it's a very difficult job that you have to do and to maintain everything, but is there anything fun behind the scenes that you could tell us about any of these animals that you've encountered that you could share just as a fun experience for people to say, like, wow, I didn't know that about this horse or these type of animals or whatever?
Well, the horses they all have their own personality, so some are fun, some are just like, oh, go away, like a little kid, you want to put them off in the corner. But the most fun animal is probably the goats when they kid, the baby goats, because they climb all over you. And so I know everybody's probably seen the goat yoga, or on Facebook or whatever, where you see the little goats running around, jumping up and down and everything. They are a lot of fun, a lot of fun. I've helped deliver them. Goats are one of those animals that kind of get stuck in between. They're not considered a small animal and they're not considered a large animal. So sometimes finding veterinary help can be difficult. I've splinted broken bones. I've helped birth the kids. So one of the things I like to do with any animal that we have born on the farm is to be there for the birth so that we have that imprint right away and they know that they can trust humans.
Just because you brought that up, that's an interesting point, which I didn't even think of as well. So what are some of the ailments or issues that you have to deal with the animals? Or is it kind of, they're relatively healthy and they just, do their thing and everything? And
they are relatively healthy, which is part of the whole everyday thing, taking care of them. It's just like us. The better you take care of yourself, the less likelihood you have of getting sick. But there is always a chance that something will happen. One of the things we have to watch for with the horses, as big and strong and powerful as they are, they have very sensitive diets. Colic is a main concern with horses. If they change their diet, if they eat too much grain, if for some reason if they get out of their stall and break into the feed barrel, you have to be really, really careful with colic in horses. It's basically just like colic in kids. It's just gas, but horses cannot burp or throw up. So when they get colic, it's a little bit more of an issue. You will spend hours walking with them, trying to get things moving like it should. And if not, you do have to call in a vet, and they'll actually tube them and pour oil down their throat to help them get things back on track.
So when there is something with the horse, there's a lot of involvement and work. I guess it's also based on the size too, that there is so much involvement with it.
Yeah. Now the cows and the goats are both ruminants. Their digestive system's a lot more hardy. They can pretty much eat anything because they basically digest their food twice. But and everything else, I mean, chickens, there's not a whole lot that we do for them. If they do get it, one of the things with our egg-laying chickens, that's the toughest thing to deal with, is if they do get sick, we cannot give them any kind of antibiotic at all in their life and then be able to sell an egg later and say that it's antibiotic-free. So we do treat them with all natural essential oil blends and stuff like that to help them out with any kind of, I know a few years ago I had a respiratory illness go through my chicken barn, and we were able to find something that was completely natural to treat them with.
Well, just spending the time that we did today on the farm, you could just see that your animals are in great shape, that you take very good care of them, and obviously when they're out in the community doing different events and everything, the public can just interact with them and have some fun with them. But we want to thank you for all that you do out in our community, getting the animals out there and being at so many different events and everything, and especially with the upcoming holiday season, for our viewers to go up to Neog and have a chance to take that horse and carriage ride, or maybe with the Lackawanna Historical Society do a history carriage ride as well as in downtown Scranton, or just come up here and spend a little bit of time and get in touch with you and book an event and or spend some time with the animals and purchase some products. But thank you for being our guest today and allowing us to spend some time on your farm. I'm Bob Savakinas. This is our show in a nutshell. Thank you. Down on the Farm.
Mm-hmm.